Hello guys, Gameboy Hub here, and today we are doing another AI software video. Now, you guys really liked the last one, judging by the views and the likes, so I'm definitely gonna do more of these. And in today's video, we are going to let AI recreate Windows 7 from scratch. We are going to use pretty much the same prompts as last time, except this time we're going to be trying to make a version of Windows 7. And today I'm going to be using GPT 5.2 Pro, Gemini 3 Pro, as well as Deep Agent. And Deep Agent is basically like an all-in-one LLM that is made by Abacus AI, and it's supposed to be really good at coding, so I'm going to be trying it out today. If you guys want all of these Pro LLMs for only $10 a month, definitely check out Abacus AI through the link in the description. But let's not ramble on any longer. Let's put 3 AI LLMs against each other to see who's better at creating a Windows 7 clone. So I'm gonna start off with ChatGPT 5.2 Pro, and I'm gonna use the same prompt as last time, so let me just copy it. So I'll just copy this prompt right here, and here we are back in a fresh chat, so I'll just paste this in here, and I'm gonna change the Windows XP over to Windows 7, and I'll remove the Bliss background because Windows 7 did not include that, and I'll just type in Windows 7 background on the desktop. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a pretty good prompt, so let's send it and see what it does. And also, I'm gonna give each LLM about 30 minutes and like 3 to 4 prompts, so I'm not gonna go all out on this. I'm not gonna spend hours on them creating this. We're gonna see how good they are out of the blue. So let's send this one. And ChatGPT is thinking, so let's see what it gives us. Okay, and it started coding pretty much right away. So it's time to cue the coding time lapse. And it actually wrote about 1,000 pages of code, which is pretty good if you ask me, and here we are inside of the software. And the clock looks exactly the same as the Windows 11 one right here. We do have a start button of some kind, but it doesn't really do anything, and it doesn't have the Windows logo on it. We have computer, which doesn't do anything, recycle bin, which doesn't do anything, games, which don't do anything, and notepad, which don't do anything. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. So I pretty much can't click on anything right here. Apparently we can edit the time, because when we click on it we do get that little arrow, but yeah, nothing really happens. So yeah, I guess the first attempt is a failure. This doesn't really work too well. None of the apps work. So I'll pretty much just copy all of the suggestions that ChatGPT gave me right here, and I'll just copy them and paste them into the chat, and I'll just ask it to please add all of this, and I'll send this prompt. So let's see if that gives us a better result. So this time it is really thinking harder, so let's see if it gives us any better results. And this time it wrote almost 2,500 lines of code, so let's see if that improved anything. Okay, we still get the same boot screen. Okay, and we do get a little more icons right now, so let's see if any of them are clickable. Okay, computer, recycling bin, and games don't even work anymore. They don't even get the click to be available. Okay, but the start button opens now, and we do now have Explorer, Notepad, Games, Personalize, About, Computer, Recycle Bin, and Shut Down. And we do also get a cool little sound with that. So let's see about these blue icons. Oh, so this just opens my computer. Can we drag the windows around? Because that was one of the requests, but unfortunately we cannot do that. We have desktop, downloads, documents, pictures, which none of them are clickable. You can't click on local disk C or anything, but this is a really cool clone of the My Computer layout. It actually looks pretty good. Let's see if the close button works. No. So you can't even close windows. Can we close them here? No, we cannot. That's really interesting. Okay, the purple button does nothing and the yellow button does nothing, but now the start button also doesn't do anything. I'm guessing that's because the window is open, but we can't close it. So I'm not really sure what to do here. So let's see if we can maybe load this in something else instead of this playground that ChatGPT offers, because you guys told me that that might have an effect on how things show up here. So let's try that out. Okay, and this is all that happens when I try to save this as an HTML file. I'm not sure if I'm doing anything wrong, but I just pasted everything into Microsoft Visual Code and basically just made a new HTML file and tried to run this. And yeah, this is basically all that happens. So I'm not sure why that is. You guys can tell me in the comments. Okay, I'll try to add a couple of more things, and this time I'll tell it that it makes the file in an HTML format, so maybe that will help. So this is the prompt that I'm gonna use, and I'll just send that and we'll see what happens. Okay. Okay, and now this actually looks a lot better after I told it to put in a runnable HTML file. And we do actually have a bunch of icons here that you can actually click on, even double click, which is extremely good. I'm not sure what happened, but after I told it to put it in a runnable HTML file, everything worked out fine. So now it seems to work in this playground mode, but let me see if this HTML file would actually work. So let's go ahead and click new file right here and paste in all of this code. Yeah, but we still get a whole bunch of these red lines right here, which I'm not sure exactly why, but let's try to save this as an HTML file and see if it would actually work. Yeah, now it works. So after you tell it to put it in an HTML file, it actually creates a runnable file, which is pretty good. I'm guessing where I was wrong before is that you just can't run JavaScript code in an HTML file. That's my first guess, but I don't really know much about coding, so yeah. Okay, let's try using this like this then. So if we go into my computer, we have a bunch of things. We can even drag the window around right now, so this really made everything a lot better. We can click on local disk C. We even have users, public documents. It created a lot of stuff in the file explorer here. So we have welcome to this Windows 7 clone, try right click desktop, start menu games. That's very cool. And local disk D, we have movies, which is interesting. We have a music folder, which is empty, and a pictures folder, which is empty. So they really did create a whole file system here, which is really cool. And now the X button works normally. We have got the recycle bin, which is empty. We have got games right here, and we have Minesweeper Lite. And this version of Minesweeper is actually completely playable, which is really, really cool that ChatGPT was actually able to create this. It is really interesting how from the past two prompts we really got nothing playable, and this time we really got a really cool actual software version. Yeah, we have a new game button, so this really does run really good. And it looks like this is a completely playable version of Snake. I'm just using my arrow buttons to play. Wow, it is actually incredibly accurate. I'm not sure how they managed to fit this into the OS, but this is a completely playable version of Snake on this. Wow, we really got some much better results than last time. So we have a pause and restart button. Let's see if those work. So I'll just click pause. And yeah, that does actually pause the game, and the resume button does work. And we have restart, which just restarts it. Wow, that is extremely cool. Let's try the other two games. So we have 2048, which you also use your arrows to play, which is really, really cool, actually. I can't believe this created so much playable games. Like, this is actually so much better than the Windows XP video. And we also have a restart button that restarts the game. And let's see if Pong works. So it actually created a bot that plays against you, which I think is pretty advanced for ChatGPT code. But yeah, I am moving the left line only. The right line is actually a bot that plays against you. So that is really cool. And you can also pause the game and reset the score. Yes, you are actually playing against AI. You can see see on the scoreboard up there. Okay, I didn't expect this to be so advanced. ChatGPT actually blew me out of my shoes right here. So that's it for the games. Let's try out the Notepad. And it is actually a fully functioning version of Notepad right here. You can type whatever you want. I don't think you can save the document, however. Yeah, you can't. So you can just type stuff in, but you can't save the document at all. Let's check out Paint, and we do have Paint Mini right here. Can we actually full screen this? Yeah, we can, but it doesn't really improve the size of the canvas, but it is really cool that the full screen button also works. So let's pick blue right here. Wow, that is actually unbelievable that this is a fully working version of Paint. You can change the thickness of your brush, you can change the colors. Wow, that is really cool. I really didn't expect it to make such a playable version of everything, and you can clear the screen and work once again. So let's check out the calculator. Okay, and the calculator actually might be the first thing that doesn't work because, yeah, we don't really get a result on the calculator if we try to type in anything. Maybe we need to click on something. No, I don't think so. So this is really the first app that doesn't do anything, which is really not that surprising. I mean, all of the other apps work. There must be one that doesn't. The Explorer is the same thing as the computer. We have Notepad pin down here and games. We can even mute and unmute the sound effects, which is really useful. The clock works as intended. And let's see how the start button looks. We have user Windows 7 clone, and it pretty much has everything that is on the desktop, but it does also have a personalized button. So we have wallpaper Aurora, Dusk, and Forest. Wow, that actually changes the wallpaper colors. And we also have an accent color, which I'm not really sure what that does. But if we click on the red one right here, nothing really changes. So you can change the wallpapers, but the color feature doesn't seem to work. Okay, so ChatGPT actually made a really usable Windows 7 clone, and its time just about ran out. So yeah, let's see if Gemini can do the same. So here we are on Gemini 3 Pro. And I'm gonna try to use the same prompt as I did for ChatGPT just to make everything fair. So there we go, I just copied the prompt, so let's paste it in here. And this time I'll just include in the first prompt, make it a runnable HTML file. And now everything should work from the start. You guys also told me that Gemini might have had a bad result before because it didn't export this and ran it in something external and not just in this playground. So there we go, I'll add this and let's see what it makes. Okay, and it just finished coding and it has about 700 lines. Okay, and that does actually have a really cool startup screen. It looks much different than the other clone, and it does look much better than the result that Gemini had with Windows XP. So yeah, I think we really discovered something with making this in an HTML format. I think that made everything a lot better because I'm just not familiar with the other formats. But yeah, this seems to run just fine in Playground, so let's check this clone out. So first we have my computer, and you can also move windows around in this version of the clone, so that's really cool. You can't click on local disk C. It does show that it's almost half full, however. Okay, closing windows works. That is a really good thing. So the recycling bin, it is just a window that says the recycle bin is empty. Internet Explorer says Internet Explorer can't display the web page. You can actually change the URL, I believe. Oh no, you can't. You can't delete it. Can't type anything in. And if we click go, it just can't display a web page. And let's see if the notepad works. Yeah, it does, but similar to the other one, you can't actually save anything, and you can't even full screen this. However, you can minimize stuff on here, but you can't full screen anything. And the Minesweeper clone, I'm not sure why that last tile didn't have a number, but it seems to, yeah, look at that. Some of the tiles don't even have numbers, which is quite interesting, and I don't think there is the effect of multiple tiles clearing out at the same time, so you do need to really go one by one, which is not the greatest Minesweeper experience. Let's check out the start button, and the start button does really have all of the same icons as the desktop, except it does have a command prompt, which doesn't do anything. It is just a picture of the Windows command prompt. And you also have music, pictures, documents, and control panel and computer, which don't do anything. Let's see if we can shut it down. Yeah, we actually can, and we do get the boot up screen once again. Okay, so let's improve this clone a little bit. I'll add some more prompts. So this is the prompt that I'm gonna use. So let's let Gemini code away. Okay, so it apparently updated the Windows 7 clone with significant overhaul to match your requests. So let's check out that file. Let's just copy the code and I'll put that into a new file right here. So I'll just put this in and we'll go file and save as, and we'll select HTML and save it like so. And now let's run it. And now it is called Windows 7 Aero Clone, and we do get a Windows 10 logo on the background and on the start button here, which is interesting. So it didn't really use the Aero theme that well. However, it did add some new apps to the desktop, which is always great. So let's check out Paint right here and let's see if it works. Yeah, and Gemini also did make a fully functioning Paint clone right here, and we even have the eraser, which works absolutely fine. Let's see if it also made the full screen feature work. And it did, so when you do put that into the prompt, it does make it work. But the canvas also is the same size as it was before, it doesn't go further, this is just a white background. So let's check out the games, and now we have Minesweeper, Tic-Tac-Toe, and Solitaire, and this window does also look much more like the Windows file system, but yeah, none of these buttons really do anything. So let's see if Minesweeper is still the same. It has changed a little bit, but it still doesn't do the multiple tiles remove, which is really annoying. So yeah, I wouldn't really call this playable still. Let's check out Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay, and it does work, but you can't really play against the AI. This page says X wins. That's cool. And you can reset it. So you can't really play against AI like in the ChatGPT version with Pong. And let's see if this Solitaire game works, and it actually doesn't do anything. So even if you double click on it, Solitaire does not open. So I'm pretty sure that is the only thing that they changed, and they did also change the computer layout because I did tell it to do that. None of the other buttons do anything. The local disk button still doesn't do anything, and the DVD drive still does nothing. So far I do think that Gemini is once again doing quite a lot worse than ChatGPT. And yeah, the only button that works from here is the computer button. None of the other ones do anything, and the shutdown button still works. Nice. So I'll give this one more prompt to see if it does anything. So this is the last prompt that I'm gonna use, so let's see if this changes anything. Okay, and this is what Gemini gave us for the last prompt. I'm pretty sure it just doesn't get what Windows 7 is. It adds the Windows 10 logo to everything. It added this little admin icon to the start menu, which is okay, I guess. None of the other things still do anything except for the computer. Oh, but it did actually make the window look more like Windows 7, so it did get that. This is pretty close to the Windows 7 with these arrows right here. Yeah, none of the things still do anything in the File Explorer, so it didn't even add like the mock categories. So for example, when you click on documents that it says empty, you just can't click on that. That is the thing that ChatGPT also did much better. And as for the games, it added Spider Solitaire, which doesn't open. So yeah, I guess that's really great. It just added another game that wouldn't open. And yeah, all of the other things are pretty much the same. It did manage to create Paint, so we can actually see where the canvas is right now. And all of the other things are pretty much exactly the same. It did also add a file edit and format buttons to the notepad, but you can't click on any of them. Yeah, Internet Explorer looks a lot more like the one on Windows 7, but again, it is completely useless. The start animation did stay the same. So yeah, Gemini is pretty much out of time. It has 4 minutes left, but I'm not going to use more than 3 prompts. I'll just copy the code and I will save this for later. And yeah, that is pretty much it for Gemini. Let's move over to Deep Agent. So here we are in Deep Agent. So I'm going to paste the same prompt as I used for Gemini and ChatGPT, and I'm also going to ask it to make it in a runnable HTML file. So let's send this and see how Deep Agent does. I have heard really good things about this, so let's see what it does. Okay, so this is the first model that it wants me to clarify a few things. So let me just copy this prompt and I'll copy it right here. And let's see. Oh no, I accidentally I accidentally sent that without editing it. Okay, it looks like that was enough for it to create the file. I'm really interested to see how this differs from Gemini and ChatGPT, so I'll give it some time and we'll see what it does. Okay, and this one actually seems to have a lot more of a sophisticated way of developing this, which is really interesting. It is searching for icons right now, and let's see if Deep Agent will truly be the best. Okay, and Deep Agent just finished with making the code, and this looks really impressive if you ask me. The icons look great, the wallpaper is actually the Windows 7 one. They almost got the start button right, so let's check this out. Wow, it even has animations when you open stuff. Okay, a lot of the things still aren't clickable like in the other ones, but this is just really clean how it opens the windows, and it actually looks pretty good. It looks really close to Windows 7. The documents have a lot of things. We have desktop, download music, pictures, videos, and we have a report document that we can't open, unfortunately. We also do have a presentation. We also have a new folder button that doesn't do anything, and a view button that doesn't do anything. The recycling bin has old document.txt, unused folder, and temp log, and you can empty the recycling bin, which does actually empty it, and you can restore all items, which does nothing. Welcome to Internet Explorer, your window to the World Wide Web. Let's go over to Bing. We can't unfortunately go over to anything, of course, but these options are pretty weird. We have MSN, Bing, Outlook, Office, Windows, and Xbox. Interesting choice there. We've got Minesweeper, which runs as intended, so Deep Agent also made a fully working version of Minesweeper, and you can actually increase this one to 16 by 16 or 16 by 30, so you do have multiple game modes, and pressing on the button does reset it like in the normal version. This is so far the most accurate version of Minesweeper that AI has created. And let's check out Solitaire, and this is the first version of Solitaire that actually seems to work. You still can't put the aces up there. Yeah, so some of the cards don't really have numbers. The numbers are actually showing up here, which is what I just noticed. So this is supposed to be a 2. This is the 8 of hearts. Let's get a card that we can actually put. We should be able to put the black 3 on the 4 here, so let's see if it works. Oh, it does. There we go. And now the cards actually show up. So it is actually playable, which is interesting. However, this makes it really hard to see and play. You can't put the aces up here, which is also quite a big issue because I'm pretty sure you can't get to the end game then. Also, some of you guys were really yelling at me in the comments the last time that I don't know how to play Solitaire. You're supposed to put the aces up here. You guys do not know how to play Solitaire because you're supposed to stack the aces up here, and then you're supposed to do the 2 of hearts, the 3 of hearts, and have an entire stack down here of each color to win. But yeah, you're just not able to do that in any of the AI recreations. And also, I do accept that dragging the cards around might be a difficult feature to implement. But right here, stacking the cards does work, but you just can't put the aces up here, so I'm pretty much just calling it unplayable straight away. You weren't even able to do that in any of the other ones that I tried, so yeah, that's why I simply called it unplayable. So yeah, we have an all programs button, we have all of the icons down here, and you do have a user screen, which is pretty cool. Let's see if the shutdown button works. Yeah, it does. It restarts the software as normal. And let's see what the restart button does. It pretty much does the same thing, which is okay. I have been recording for 27 minutes already. So Deep Agent really did take much more time to create this. But it did make a really good copy looks-wise. Usability-wise, I think the best one was ChatGPT in this video. So yeah, I'm gonna give the crown to ChatGPT, even though this one does look really good. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think? Which one was the best? And were any of the AI models successful in this video? Thank you guys so much for watching it. And if you enjoyed it, I'll definitely try to make more videos like this one. Let me know in the comments which videos you want to see next. I have been reading the comments in the last one, and I'll definitely make some of your suggestions. Please check out my Twitter and Instagram. And also, we do have a join button now. So for as low as $1 a month, you can can really help out the channel, and you do get some pretty cool perks with that, like early access to videos and some pretty cool emojis. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.